Today, we're here to discuss a serious fear of mine now that we're in the final saga of One Piece. I'd even go so far as to say that this could be considered a nightmare. So now, you may be wondering, Sai, who's in the closet? Who's the boogeyman haunting me in the middle of the night? And I, shaking and sweating from head to toe, answers the Grand Fleet matchups. So, the Grand Fleet has yet to play a pivotal role in this story. We met them in Dressrosa, they joined under Luffy's flag, and they have yet to do the aforementioned big event that the narrator spoke about in Dressrosa. So, every arc that comes by now, we're wondering, oh, is the Grand Fleet gonna show up? Are they gonna show up here? Are they gonna show up there? That happened back in Wano when the raid was going on, right? We saw the Toby Roppo, and people were rightfully wondering if the Grand Fleet were going to assist us in that scenario, because it is a battle against a Yonko. Did not happen. Now here we are on Egghead Island. We're fighting Saint Saturn, we're fighting Kizaru, the Vice Admirals are here. Is the Grand Fleet going to show up? Well, lo and behold, chapter 1106 happened, and we learned that no, the Grand Fleet did not make an appearance, and instead it was Dory and Bragi. So now, the Grand Fleet is pushed back to another island, right? Eventually, the Grand Fleet's gonna make an appearance and fight someone significant. But the problem that I have is how significant of an opponent are they going to fight? So, the reason why Onigashima seemed like a pretty good candidate was because of the Toby Roppo, right? I wouldn't call them fodder, but let's be real here. In comparison to Jack, King, Queen, Big Mom, and Kaido, they're somewhat forgettable. Sorry to say that to all the Ulti fans out there, but they are a little bit forgettable. And then we go over to Egghead Island. The Vice Admirals are, in my opinion, Grand Fleet victims, right? It was almost written on their foreheads. We actually don't even know a majority of the Vice Admirals' names here on Egghead Island. So yeah, they are the perfect Straw Hat Grand Fleet victims. But like I said, it didn't happen. It did not go through the way I expected it to. So now that we're pushing the Straw Hat Grand Fleet to the next island, the only other group I can think of currently that the Grand Fleet could potentially fight are the Holy Knights. And let me tell you guys, that is a very cursed timeline that we would be living in if that happened. So right now, we actually don't know too much about the Holy Knights. All we know, for sure, is that Shanks' dad, or, sorry, we don't know if it's Shanks' dad yet. Some people are still on the fence about that one. Saint Garland is the supreme commander of the Holy Knights. And based on Dragon's introductionary silhouettes of them, we can approximate that there are about 10 of them. Back in the God's Valley flashback that we had when we saw Kuma's life, we saw about 12 of them, but of course 40 years have passed, so it looks like the numbers have dwindled a little bit. Either way though, doesn't matter. Because if you are around 10 strong, then there are two real possibilities. They could either be Straw Hat victims, right? Because we have 10 Straw Hats if you include Luffy. So maybe the Straw Hats go mano a mano against the Holy Knights. Or another card that I have seen people play around with is that maybe the Holy Knights are actually Straw Hat Grand Fleet victims instead. And I'm not gonna lie, that actually brought a tear to my soul. Like deep down, I felt a little bit hurt when I saw that, is because I could actually imagine it. Because when you think about it, right, just dialing it back a little bit, if the Straw Hats, if, Sanji, Zoro, Nami, Jinbei, Robin, if they don't fight the Holy Knights, then they do have other opponents lined up for them. The Admirals are still a thing. The Gorosei are still a thing. And when you think about it, Luffy is most likely going to fight Emu, right? Luffy always goes after the head honcho. I don't exactly see why this scenario would be any different. So yeah, Luffy would probably fight the main villain. So that leaves the other 9 Straw Hats. Who are they gonna fight? Well, Zoro being the machismo man he is, and with Sanji being the number 3 of the crew and Jinbei right behind him, it's like, they're probably gonna fight the second and third strongest people like they normally do. And, low be it for me to say, but I think that would be the Gorosei. So that does leave a weird gap in numbers between the Gorosei Emu and the Holy Knights versus the Straw Hats. So there are some spots that need to be filled in. And this is where the Grand Fleet could come in. So maybe we do see Bartolomeo, Orbus, Leo, Don Sai, Don Jin Zhao, Ideo, I think I already said Ideo, Blue Gilly, Abdul and Jeet. Maybe this is when they all hop in and get a major W for the Straw Hats. And I just don't know how to explain it. I might even be alone when I say this, but I'm not looking forward to those fights. So I consider myself a fight junkie, right? Like, outside of One Piece, I like Battle Shonen. Hell, I'm someone who even goes out of my way to pay-per-view boxing matches, UFC, MMA. Like, I'm all about the fight life. So when I just think about Bartolomeo, you know, doing in the Holy Knights, or, you know, Ideo coming in with his explosive fists, it kind of brings a frown to my face. Sorry to say it, you know, because I know there are people out there who are very passionate about the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, but I'm not hyped. But, of course, let's look at the Straw Hat Grand Fleet and talk about how they could glow up and or what fighting capabilities they do have. So I'm kind of cheating right here, but I did pull up the Grand Fleet here on the wiki. You know, forgive me for not knowing all of these guys off the top of my head, but I do consider these guys more so background characters than anything. So we have Orbus here, which is a great meme. I love just making fun of Orbus on a daily basis. Haruden is another great meme. Leo, Ideo, Sai. And we have to remember that there are more Grand Fleet named members underneath these guys. These are just the main 7 captains. So let's click on Orbus here. I don't know how many of you guys actually remember what Orbus can do, but back in Dressrosa, Orbus had the ability to command people. I don't know how he does it. It is not listed as a devil fruit, but Orbus can command people to salute him. I don't know how he does it. I don't know if this is some weird Conqueror's hockey flex, but Orbus can do it. He tells people to stand tall, they all salute him, and then Orbus took a random Doflamingo soldier and just used him as a bowling ball. I thought it was funny. I thought it was hilarious even. But when I think about this guy fighting a Holy Knight, I just can't imagine a scenario where this gimmick would work. See, this is why I thought that the Straw Hat Grand Fleet had a pretty good chance of coming here to Egghead Island. Because, you know, the Vice Admirals are kind of fodder. You know, no offense, I love the Vice Admirals, but, you know, I would say that they could be an Orbus victim here or there, right? Like, maybe one of them falls victim to the good old salute. But that didn't happen, like I said. So, you know, we have to think about other ways Orbus can come into the story and shine. And hell, if this guy comes into Elbaf and does it, I can't imagine him doing this to Giants. All I gotta say, I can't imagine Orbus doing that with the Giants, if there is even a giant enemy. Like, when I think about the future of One Piece, the only real enemies that just pop into my head are the Blackbeard Pirates, which, of course, I think the Straw Hats can take them, mano a mano, and the Holy Knights. So it's like, yo, like, I feel like there is a pretty good chance that the Grand Fleet is going to play a major role there. So yeah, Orbus is a big one. Like I said, I don't know how he is going to fit in there. I don't know who he's going to be taking down, but I guess he could take on possibly the weakest Holy Knight in the world. Next up, we have Haruden. See, Haruden is an interesting character because now that we're in the final saga, now that we're heading to Elbaf, now that we're being reintroduced to Giants again, the Giants are getting buffed across the board. I'm actually expecting Haruden to be an absolute monster next time we see him. I mean, Dory and Bragi, they got massively buffed, right? Like, Ikaku Sovereignty went crazy. Now here they are on Egghead Island, going crazy again. I could see Haruden actually being quite powerful, despite Haruden extreme diffing Mac Vice. Again, I don't know how many of you guys actually remember the Mac Vice fight in Dressrosa, but Haruden was struggling, man. Like, I think Haruden, like, he dealt the final blow and then he had to pass out. He was like Zoro on the rooftop. He couldn't do anything. Like, Mac Vice went crazy against him. Let me see if I can find the battle here. Major battles. Yeah, so this is Mac Vice right here. Yeah, this right here is the loser that pushed Haruden to an extreme diff fight. He's not even an executive. He's just an officer. What was his bounty? Let me see. Of course, it got frozen. His bounty got frozen, so we have to take this with a grain of salt. Oh, no. Stop. Wait, is this 44 million? Oh, no. Oh, no. Yeah, I think his bounty is 44 million. You know, I'm a little bit Asian, so my eyesight isn't exactly the best. Let me see. Oh, no. No. This is 11 million. Wait a minute. 11 million. Wait, am I reading that right? Yeah, it's 11 million. Yeah. I mean, hey, frozen bounty. It's a frozen bounty. It doesn't mean anything, right? Like, it's like Crocodile with his 81 million. Main difference is that Crocodile, of course, was pre-time skip, right? You know, Oda could have at least done Macavise a little bit better than 11 million. You know, I at least give him 41. I almost want to go with my own headcanon just to make the numbers look better for Haruden. But yeah, he's sitting at 11 million. You know, this guy, he had a better version of the Kilo fruit. This guy just weighed a bunch. But Haruden, you know, he managed to squeak out the W. We'd love to see it. But yeah, Haruden is going to be a key player in that final war, right? Wherever Haruden shows up, you know, he's going to be fighting for his life over there. So Haruden fighting a Holy Knight, man, I just don't know how I feel about that. But of course, if there is any Straw Hat Grand Fleet member that I am putting stocks on, I think it would be Haruden though. Just because, like I said, the Giants are getting buffed up here on Elbaf, so Haruden, in my opinion, does have a lot of future potential, but based on the Carfax, based on what we have, I just don't see it, brother. Like right now, like it's just not looking too good. But of course, that could change. Next up is Leo, and this is where it gets kind of interesting. Let me put Leo and Sai right here. You know, we got the wikis back to back. So the reason why Leo and Sai are so interesting, in my opinion, is because we actually don't know where they are, right? Because last we saw, Sai and Leo were at the Reverie, and these two guys actually collabed a punch on St. Charlos. We love to see it, right? St. Charlos is a very hateable character. I don't like St. Charlos, right? I'm not going to go up to bat for him. So yeah, Sai and Leo did God's work, and they put the fear of God in that man. But after that happened, we did not see them leave the Reverie, which I do find a little bit interesting. Because when we get time skipped to the end of the Reverie, we see what happened to St. Mosgard. St. Mosgard gave Leo and Sai permission to attack St. Charlos. And St. Mosgard said, hey guys, don't worry. Don't worry, I'm a celestial dragon. It's gonna be fine. Guess what? St. Mosgard is dead. St. Garland for Garland killed him. He put him on a crucifix. The guy's gone. Do you really think that Leo and Sai both left the Reverie unscathed? I don't know. I do think there's a chance that Mosgard paid for Sai and Leo's life with his life, but that is just my headcanon. You know, like, for all we know, Sai and Leo could have been either executed, which I think is kind of crazy, so I don't think they're executed. I think that might be a little bit too brutal for One Piece, but I could see that these guys are being held captive at Marie's Raw. Maybe they're being tortured, maybe they're being held as leverage against the Straw Hats. But yeah, like Sai and Leo, like their fate is actually unknown right now. But yeah, aside from their unknown fate, just thinking about Leo fighting a Holy Knight though, like he didn't even fight a Don Quixote family member, did he? Let me go back. Maybe I'm misremembering, but yeah, major battles. Who did he fight? He fought Treble and Sugar, and he lost, right? He did not beat Treble or Sugar. He fought Giola, and he lost. He fought Lucci, and he lost. He fought Charlos and won. Okay. You know, if your only victory is against Charlos, I'm not too sure what that speaks. But, I mean, like, you gotta admit, though, I will give him credit. He has a lot of aura. He has hockey. And this is a very powerful attack. But let's be honest with ourselves for a minute. When we see this attack, can we really look at Leo and say that he's going to take down a Holy Knight? I don't think so. Like, that is why I really liked these guys for Egghead Island. Like, I think the Grand Fleet would stomp on the Vice Admirals. But as far as N-tier opponents, I just can't see it, man. I really can't. Maybe the Holy Knights are absolute fodder. Maybe those guys are trash. But if they're not, if those guys are working with potentially Shanks's dad, right? If these are supposed to be the people who rule the world, and if they're losing to Leo, Sai, or Lumbus, Haruden, like, I don't know, man. Like, why even listen to these guys in the first place? They're just a bunch of bozos. See, Sai is actually somebody that I am high on as well. Haruden I had pretty high on my list. Sai I'm actually excited for. Not just because we share the same name, but Sai has the drill nail. And I think he actually is poised. You take this lightly, take this how you will. I think if any of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet members were to have Conqueror's Haki, I do think it would be Sai. And that's because Don Chinjiao, the former leader of the Hoppo Navy, had Conqueror's Haki. I think Sai can get it as well, now that Sai is the leader of the Hoppo Navy. And of course, we do have to keep in mind that Sai, his Drill Dragon Nail, already surpassed Don Chinjiao. So yes, I actually do think that Sai might be the top tier out of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. So who do we have next? We have Ideo. All right. Ideo, the XXX rank boxer. I don't know what XXX means in other countries, but of course, when I think of XXX, I don't exactly go to boxing right away. Sometimes it takes you to a weird website, but who knows? So Ideo is actually someone who I thought was really cool back when he first got introduced. I think he has a really cool ability. And I'm going to say it right here. You guys might know me as the neighborhood racist, but I'm not a big fan of giants, of long legs, or long arms. I just straight up do not like those guys. I don't know why, but when I see them, I kind of do turn into a little bit of a celestial dragon. It's Year of the Dragon. We all have that dog in them. But Ideo covers up his extra limbs, and that is why he has these absurdly weird looking shoulder pad things going on. And not to mention, he also utilizes his extra limbs pretty well. So he extends his arm. Not only does he have a longer punch, but his punches also explode. I thought Ideo was super cool, and I thought he was gonna cure the racist inside of me. Turns out that did not happen, because let me tell you why. Ideo lost his battle in Dressrosa. So Ideo was tasked with fighting Dellinger. Another goober from the Don Quixote Pirates. What is his bounty? I'm actually curious now. What was his bounty? Let me see. 15 million. All right, keep in mind, this is a warlord crew. Bounties are frozen. But 15 million post time skip? Are you kidding me? 15 million. That's like, I think Arlong had a bigger bounty than that. Arlong was 20 million. Gotta keep in mind, it's a frozen bounty. Bounties don't even mean anything because Oda did say that they don't always equal power. But let's be real here. 15 million, that's pretty low. It's kind of funny when you think about it, because it's like, yo, Oda, we already beat them. Like, just give them a decent bounty to make them look kind of cool, right? Like these are bounties that actually will not hurt the story whatsoever. Like, I feel like a 45 million could have been really solid for him. But putting him at 15, that's like buggy. That's a buggy bounty. But yeah, like I said, man, Ideo lost that fight. He didn't win. Like, he lost to Dellinger, and then Bartolomeo had to clean that one up, right? Like, Hakuba had to clean that fight up. Yeah, Ideo just isn't looking good in terms of feats, man. Like, it's just not good. He didn't win in the Coliseum. He didn't win outside of the Coliseum. The guy has no W's. And what does it say right here? So, I believe he's the champion of his boxing gym. But I don't know who's going to his boxing gym and fighting him. I guess just like the neighborhood kids? Like, who is he beating over there? Why is he like the world champion of the long arm tribe? I just have no clue. So kind of going beyond Ideo though, the one thing I think he does have going for him is that he does have great support. He has Blue Gilly, who is a long leg member, which, oh god, cursed. Actually cursed. I don't, kudos to Oda for having these really interesting designs, but holy crap, man, cover up those legs. Yeah, so Blue Gilly is a part of Hideo's crew, and they could have some crazy combinations in the future, right? Maybe separated, they're absolute losers, but together they could come together and make one actual good fighter. Maybe they're just a dual Doken unit. I have no idea. And then they also have Jeet and Abdullah. And I don't know why, but I actually do like Jeet and Abdullah. There's something about these guys that's just really wholesome, right? Like, I would trust these guys with my life and limb. So yeah, Abdullah, Jeet, Blue Gilly, and Hideo, maybe they can all come together and form one decent pirate. Maybe these guys can all come together and they can take down somebody with a 20 million berry bounty. I think that could be in the cards. So next up we have Bartolomeo. I would say this guy also carries the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, but just like Sai and Leo, I think Bartolomeo's fate is up in the air. I know people want to believe the best out of Shanks, but I don't know if Shanks will give this man a slap on the wrist. And just in case you don't know what I'm talking about, just going back to the cover page stories, which did get adapted into the anime, Bartolomeo burned down the red-haired flag. He said, hey, forget Shanks, here's Luffy's flag instead. Bartolomeo does not know that Shanks and Luffy have a connection. But there is a discrepancy that I have to address. Because in the anime, Luffy tells Bartolomeo that he has a connection with Shanks. But in the manga, that never happens. That is anime filler. So yes, Bartolomeo does not know that they have a connection, so that is why he burned down Shanks' flag, because he does not think that he cares about him. So yeah, Bartolomeo is now in the red-haired crosshair. And coming off of Wano, Shanks said that they have to deal with this man. We don't know how they're going to deal with him. Some people are saying that they're simply going to, slap him on the wrist. Ah, bad boy, right? Oh, Bartolomeo, don't burn our flag. People think that will actually happen. And I think that's fine, right? Shanks has shown time and time again that he is a man of the people. He is a good guy. As long as Bartolomeo didn't kill anybody on the island, I do think that Shanks could potentially just slap him on the wrist and let him go. But this is the world of pirates. There does exist a chance that Shanks potentially messed Barto up, right? Maybe next time we see Barto, he has a crazy scar. Maybe he's like Toto from JJK. He has no hands. There are those possibilities out there. So Barto is another member of the Grand Fleet who, in my opinion, is kind of up in the air whether or not he's okay or not. But yes, Barto fighting the Holy Knight, getting back to the nitty gritty, back to the main topic, Barto is probably the only person out of the Grand Fleet right now, like the other characters like Sai, Harudin, or Lumbus, Idea, like I kind of have to scale them upwards to say that they could fight a Holy Knight, but Barto is one of the Grand Fleet members where I think he's actually perfect where he is. He has a great Devil Fruit, he utilizes it pretty well, and I feel like he has a great motivation for becoming stronger because he wants to be with Luffy. So I actually think Barto, out of all of the Grand Fleet members, could actually take a Holy Knight, and I would be okay with it. So yeah, Barto gets a definite pass, but who knows what the future has in store for him. So next up, the last member of the Grand Fleet we have to talk about, Cavendish. Cavendish of the White Horse, and also he has a member of the Grand Fleet here with him as well in the Cavendish Pirates. Let me see. He has a Suleiman, right? Let me see. Yes, he actually got Suleiman under his command as well. I don't know how many of you guys actually remember this bozo, but he kind of got fodderized in Dressrosa. He lost in like 1 or 2 hits in the Colosseum. He tried to fight an officer. Who did he fight? Let me see. He fought somebody and he just lost horrendously. Let me see. Let me scroll down a little bit. Major battles. He fought Rebecca and he lost. Oh no. He's another Dellinger victim. How many people? Okay, I gotta see it now. How many people did Dellinger take down? How many people are in this man's kill list? Suleiman? He beat Dagama too? Oh, dude, who is Dellinger not beating? Blue Gilly, he beat Ideo. And then he lost. He finally lost to Cavendish. Actually, no. He didn't lose to Cavendish. He lost to Hakuba. Yeah, we always have to draw that. So, Cavendish is an interesting character. I think base level Cavendish is not strong. You know, he's a swordsman, but with that being said, he's not exactly a world's strongest swordsman candidate, right? You know, like Cavendish is kind of iffy. The thing is that Cavendish does have a major card in his pocket. Cavendish actually has Hakuba. And I think Hakuba carries Cavendish in a lot of fights. Let me see. So, kind of scrolling down, I wonder if there's even a Hakuba section here. But if you guys forgot, when Cavendish falls asleep, he turns into like this weird Phantom of the Opera menace. He's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He's suffering from a little bit of schizophrenia, might I say. You know, multiple personalities. There's just everything firing from all cylinders here. And when he is Hakuba, he is actually a lot stronger. The only problem is that, as this image dictates, Cavendish cannot control Hakuba. Hakuba has free reign over Cavendish. So with that being the case, you know, Cavendish has to get this man under control. But I do feel like if Cavendish can properly tame, you know, Kurama here, essentially, then I do believe that Cavendish is probably my second candidate as to who could actually fight a Holy Knight. But I do think this is a major hurdle for him nonetheless, though, because Hakuba did not want to listen to Cavendish. You know, Cavendish was like, hey, Hakuba, you're me, calm down, it's my body. But Hakuba was actually, you know, putting the straps on this man. It's like, yo, like, I don't know, man, like, you know, this is gonna be a hell of a feat to tame this guy. But of course, you know, now that we're in the final saga, now that the story is going to get wrapped up pretty soon, of course, I do think that Cavendish will be able to tame Hakuba. So yeah, there we have it. There's the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, you know, front and center. And pretty much what I'm just trying to get at is that I just can't see who these guys would fight that would actually be meaningful. Like I when I see the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, I really do just imagine them fighting off a bunch of fodder characters. Like I could see them fighting Vice Admirals. I could see them fighting. Yeah, I could see them fighting Vice Admirals. Like that's pretty much it. Like I can't imagine these guys actually fighting Holy Knights or the Gorosei or the Admirals, right? Like I don't know where I'd put them, but I am coming to the realization that as each arc passes on, the significance of the Grand Fleet grows more and more. But yeah, you know, keep in mind though, I do want to say this right here. Like I said earlier, maybe the Holy Knights are actually just fodder, right? There is a chance that a lot of them are just not fighters. We saw that the Holy Knights were a thing 40 years ago on God's Valley. Maybe they're all old. Maybe they're paraplegic. And, you know, maybe they're on death's door and they just can't fight anymore. That possibility does exist, but we just don't know yet. The only Holy Knight we have confirmation of present day is Saint Garling for Garland, Shanks's dad, or, you know, possibly dad, if you want to believe the Garling thing or not. You know, to be fair, you know, we'll just touch on this for a minute, but Garling is a name we got from Shanks back in Film Red. We know that Oda helped write Film Red. He added a lot of key details into that. He's the one who kind of wanted the movie to revolve around Shanks in the first place. So personally, I do take the name Garling as canon, and I do believe that Shanks is Saint Garling for Garland's son. So yeah, that's kind of where I stand on that. But I can see the Grand Fleet potentially beating a bunch of those old geezers if they are out of their primes. But as far as Garling goes, I just feel like that has to be a high-tier opponent. It would be really sad if Shanks' dad just got defeated by one of the Grand Fleet. Honestly, I feel like any endgame villain, I'd be pretty disappointed if they got beat by the Grand Fleet, but I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this. You know, maybe I'm going to get a lot of hate when I say that, because I do know, like I said, a lot of people do love the Grand Fleet, but honestly, I do think there are a bunch of other great candidates that could fight the Holy Knights that are not the Straw Hats. We have a lot of allies around the world, a lot of other pirate groups around the world that are friendly with us. Hell, I would even have Foxy show up. We could have Geen show up even, and I'd be more excited than the Grand Fleet. Just some other examples I can throw out there. We could have Carrot and Zoe and the Minx. We could have the Big Mom Pirates with Katakuri. We could have Kaido or Big Mom if they join our side. That one's kind of a stretch, but hey, if they change and if Luffy beat them so hard and they want to help us, sure. Like, I guess Toby Robo could help out. Law and Kid? Yeah, dude, like those guys could come back. Maybe they could take out a Holy Knight. Like, there are so many other options out there in the world of One Piece that I think would be a lot better than the Grand Fleet. Cross Guild exists. Boa Hancock exists. There are a bunch of characters who have high fighting capabilities that could help us in the final war. You know, take your pick. Would you rather have the Straw Hat Grand Fleet fight the Holy Knights? Would you rather have the Straw Hats fight them? Or would you rather have allies that we picked up around the world fight them? You know, I would say the Straw Hats are numero uno, as always. And then I'd have allies, and then I'd have the Grand Fleet. I don't know why, but I just do not find the Grand Fleet that hype. You know, maybe they glow up. Maybe 2 years from now, when the fights actually happen, I'll look like an absolute idiot, and that's fine. You know, like I said, the Grand Fleet has potential. They can grow. But if they are the same losers that we saw at Dressrosa, I'm not that excited. But with that being said, that is enough of my Grand Fleet rant for today. You know, sorry if this seemed like a very negative video, but I just wanted to have fun with this one. This is a topic I've kind of been sitting on for a while now, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that. But yeah, I'll catch you guys later. My name is Sai, and I'm signing out.